Welcome on back. In this one today, we're going to be discussing the most overrated map in every single COD Zombies game. Overrated maps aren't maps that are necessarily bad, they just get too much attention that they don't deserve. So without further ado, let's get right into it. World at War. The most overrated map in this game is definitely Nocturne Totem. This map isn't really that bad, but with it being the first map to ever release, a lot of people give it too much credit. I've seen people put this map into their top 10 favorites of all time. Chaotic Silencer, I'm looking at you. And although the map has some good aspects like the box not moving around everywhere and the creepy atmosphere, it just doesn't even come close to being considered a good map in my opinion. A lot of OGs in the community started off on Nocturne Totem, so to them I can understand why this map holds a lot of value. I can even understand why newer players today would love Noct because of these slow zombie spawns. It makes for a perfect map to introduce people into zombies. But for most people, the zombie spawns get annoying for high rounds. In Black Ops 3, the round 255 attempt on this map is one of the longest, solely because of how slow the zombies move on this map. The first 10 rounds for average zombie players can be an absolute pain. Even in the later rounds, it can take forever to find the last zombie, even though the map itself is very small. Overall, when it comes to Noct, it's hard to say that it's a bad map because it was the first map ever made, but a lot of people like to say that it's one of the best, when in reality, it barely reaches the top 20. Black Ops 1. The most overrated map in this game is going to Keynoter Totem. Now, this map is very well known in general. The majority of the community started playing zombies on this map, which, similar to Noct, gives it a lot of attention. Again, a lot of people like to put this map into their top 5 or even their top spot when it comes to Call of Duty Zombies, which just isn't true. Chaotic Silencer, again, I am looking at you. When it comes to Black Ops 1 as a whole, I'd say that Kino sits somewhere in the middle where it's not the best map on that game, but it's not the worst either. Again, if it's your first time playing zombies, it can be a great map, but for the majority of players who are already invested in zombies, this map can get really boring really fast. The Nova Crawlers can be super annoying, and there really isn't anything interesting when it comes to high round strategies on this map. 90% of the time you're just using traps and shooting zombies with a thunder gun, which is fun to do, but again, it can get really boring really fast. Another thing with Black Ops 1 maps in general is that they look really terrible. Shangri-La is the one exception, but every other Black Ops 1 map looks really dark and gray, and not in a scary way either. It just looks bland, and Kino is no exception. Overall, when it comes to this map, I can't deny that it played an important role in making zombies what it is today, but compared to almost every other map that came out around the same time, like 5, Duris, and Ascension, there's nothing about Kino today that stands out. Black Ops 2. For the most overrated map in this game, we have Mob of the Dead. Now, before you guys crucify me, hear me out. I am by no means saying that Mob of the Dead is a bad map, but I just don't personally agree with it being one of the greatest of all time. The atmosphere carries this map a lot, from the music to the characters to the art style and theme. Mob of the Dead is just incredible. But when it comes to normal gameplay mechanics, the only thing that stands out a lot is the Afterlife mode. When it comes to wonder weapons, they're mediocre at best. The Blundergat and Acid Gat are really overrated wonder weapons. Yes, the Acid Gat can distract zombies, but it doesn't do enough damage. If you get cornered into the later rounds, it won't really do much. When it comes to normal weapons, you have a selection of newer ones, but none of them are that effective or original. The AK-47 is pretty much just a reskin of the Galil, the Death Machine is really slow to move around with, and the Uzi is okay, but the MP5 statistically can do just as well. The only new gun that they added in that's worth mentioning is the Tommy gun, which is actually pretty good. Overall, when it comes to Mob of the Dead, it It is a top 10 map, but it's not a top 3 like most people say. I personally don't think Mob of the Dead does enough to make it one of the best of all time. A lot of people would disagree with me on that, but from normal gameplay features like the weapons and Easter eggs, there isn't much that, in my opinion, goes above and beyond. Black Ops 3. The most overrated map in this game is Gorod Krovi. This map is difficult compared to the others that are on Black Ops 3, and very similar to Mob of the Dead. A lot of people like to put this map on a high pedestal because of the atmosphere, theme, and all the other things outside of the gameplay. When you first spawn into this map, you get an incredible opening cutscene, which is one of the best that we have ever seen. And when it's all over, you land on the map, missiles, gunfire, dragons, and Ultimus Nikolai can be heard straight away. This map embodies chaos perfectly, and for zombies, it works really well. When it comes to gameplay features, there really isn't all that much. The Ray Gun Mark III is the worst wonder weapon in Black Ops 3, not including the basic ray gun, of course. For high rounds, it's not that useful. For the Easter egg, however, it's one of the best that you can have. The Gorod Krovi Easter egg without the Ray Gun Mark III is really hard to complete, but with this wonder weapon, it actually becomes incredibly easy. And with this entire Easter egg in general, while a lot of the steps can look cool, especially the final boss fight, when using the Ray Gun Mark III, gameplay wise, there's just not enough substance. Getting Pack-a-Punch on this map is pretty much just a copy and paste of Derice with a ton of extra unnecessary steps. Flying the dragon for the first time is great, but having to do a side Easter egg just to skip the cutscene is a little bit nonsensical, and the Groff modules aren't that great either. I think it'd be better if they made it to where all you have to do is get the colored code cylinders for each area, enter them into each of the dragon location sites, and then that's it. One thing I will give credit for this map is that the new weapons added in were amazing. The return of the PPSH, the addition of one of the best assault rifles being the FFAR, an explosive launcher that is really fun to use and also really effective, and dual-wield crossbows that can revive your teammates. Gorod Krovi does not disappoint when it comes to the new weapons. Overall, when it comes to Gorod Krovi, it is a great map, but there's a lot of small things that I don't like about it when it comes to the Easter egg and the gameplay that I just can't put it into the top 3 like most other people. Black Ops 4. The most overrated map in this game is 9. This map has one good thing going for it, and it's once again the map layout and atmosphere. The moment you spawn in this map, there's noises from the crowd that can be heard everywhere. This map is one of the brightest we've ever seen from Treyarch as well, but just because it looks visually appealing doesn't mean that it is. The Death of Orion is a horrible wonder weapon for higher rounds. Mixed in with all the gladiators, you bleed through the ammo really fast. And while the final boss of this map is visually appealing, mechanics wise, it's no better than Gorod Krovi. All you have to do is focus on a few weak points with a high damaging weapon, and then you're pretty much done. The thing that I hate the most about this map is that 50% of the time, you're not even shooting at zombies, you're taking down different types of random enemies like the Catalyst, Tigers, Blightfathers, Brawlers, and Gladiators. Most of these enemy types act like bullet sponges, and they spawn non-stop. With the Gladiators, since they move super slow, you can spend 5 minutes just looking for the last zombie to end the round. Overall, when it comes to Black Ops 4, a lot of the maps are either seen as really good or really bad, and 9 is one of those maps that's seen as being really good. Some people like to say that it's the best map in Black Ops 4, but when I compare it to Ancient Evil, they just don't compare in my opinion. Black Ops Cold War. For our last game, the most overrated map is Die Machine. This map got a lot of attention during the launch of Black Ops Cold War, and a lot of people loved it because originally it appealed to everybody. Hardcore players had Nocturne Totem for the throwback, and casuals had an entirely new area with new systems that made it easier to get into zombies. But when it comes to normal gameplay mechanics, a lot of them are very underwhelming. The wonder weapon, that being the Die Shockwave, isn't all that good. Even after they added in the pack-a-punched variants, it just doesn't compare to weapons that were in zombies before. The Easter egg is also very lackluster because the steps aren't that interesting and none of them are challenging. I will say that the side Easter eggs on this map are actually done really well, like the Plague Hound that you can pet, or the free gold tier weapon, or the best side Easter egg of all time, that being the coffin Easter egg. The big issue with this map is that it gained a lot of attraction really quickly because of the marketing, but it was unable to hold those expectations because once all the content was looked through, not many people cared to ever come back. But people will still stand by this map, saying it's one of, if not the best that Cold War has to offer, which I do agree to some extent, but it completely clouds the judgment of some of the other maps in Cold War like Firebase Z and Forsaken that aren't that bad compared to D Machine. Anyways guys, it's going to wrap up this video for today. If you did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, do all that. Leave your comments down below if you want to see me do any other type of content. Check down the description as well for more zombie related videos. And yeah, I got nothing much else to say. So, peace.